Faith is the eternal elixir which gives life, power, and action to the impulse of thought. When faith is mixed with the vibration of thought, the subconscious mind instantly picks up the vibration, translates it into its spiritual equivalent, and transmits it to infinite intelligence, as in the case of prayer. This is the principle of faith by which miracles are performed and all mysteries are unfolded. Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, not in the fairy tale sense, but in the quantum, psychological, biological sense. A man who believes carries a frequency. It is heard in his voice, seen in his walk, felt in his presence. Faith breeds certainty, and certainty breeds respect, and respect opens doors that stay closed for the doubter. But understand this, faith is not soft. It is not fragile. Real faith demands discipline. You cannot say, I believe, and then live like a coward. You cannot affirm wealth and then shrink in fear every time a bill comes due. You cannot pray for success and then scroll your life away in distraction. Faith is action. Faith is sacrifice. Faith is obsession. It is turning down the party to build your dream. It is investing when others hoard. It is trusting the process when results are invisible. Faith is brutal. It will cost you. It will ask you to walk alone. It will ask you to be misunderstood. It will strip you of comfort and demand everything you have. But in return, it will make you rich, not just in dollars, but in fire, in vision, in resilience, in the kind of power that no recession, no opinion, no enemy can take from you. Napoleon Hill knew this. That's why he said, faith is the head chemist of the mind. The head chemist, it is the alchemist that turns thought into gold. It is the unseen force that turns intention into creation. Do you understand what this means? It means you are not waiting on the world. You are not at the mercy of the economy. You are not bound by statistics or family curses or bad luck. You are bound only by the strength of your belief. You will rise only as high as your faith dares to go. And that's why the average man remains poor, not because he lacks opportunity, but because he lacks belief. He prays for what he will not prepare for. He begs for a future he does not expect. He dreams without commitment. He waits without motion. He speaks of vision, but walks in fear. But not you, not if you're listening, not if something inside you is rising as these words hit your chest. Because deep down you felt it. You've always felt it. That pull, that knowing, that truth that says I was meant for more, not for mediocrity, not for struggle, but for greatness. And that knowing is faith, waiting to be activated. Now activated. So how do you activate it? You begin by standing guard at the gates of your mind. Every thought you allow in is a seed, and every seed grows. Hill said it best. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But belief doesn't come by accident. It is built. And the first construction site is your inner dialogue. You speak to yourself more than anyone else does. Every moment, every hour, every day. And most people, their self-talk is poison, dressed as humility. I'm not ready. I'm not smart enough. I always mess things up. Success isn't for people like me. Lies. And worse than lies, they are commands to your subconscious. And your subconscious obeys. You cannot plant thorns and expect roses. You cannot speak fear and expect courage. You cannot flood your mind with doubt and expect it to produce certainty. Your faith will never rise above the words you speak to yourself. So you must become the commander, the architect, the dictator of your mental environment. Because if you don't, someone else will. The media will decide what you believe. Your past will decide what you expect. Your environment will sculpt your identity. But you are not a leaf in the wind. You are the wind. Faith means you decide, not just what you want, but what you are willing to endure. Because faith doesn't mean comfort. It means being at peace in the storm. It means standing on nothing and still saying, I know, not I hope, not I wish, but I know. Because when you decide, truly decide, the universe moves. It begins rearranging. People shift. Circumstances break. Invisible threads pull you into alignment with the thing you've claimed. That's not magic. That's mathematics. That's physics. That's focus so powerful it bends the path, and it begins with belief. Then that belief becomes emotion. Then emotion becomes action. Then action becomes momentum. And momentum becomes destiny. But none of that happens if you hesitate. You can't tiptoe into faith. You must leap, head first, unapologetically. The kind of faith that made Walt Disney draw cartoons when he was broke. The kind of faith that made Sojiro Honda keep building engines no one wanted. The kind of faith that made Oprah rise from abuse and poverty to command empires. The kind of faith that made Napoleon Hill a man with no wealth of his own. Teach the world how to build it from scratch. These were not superhumans. They were men and women with vision, with belief, with faith. And more importantly, they backed that faith with discipline. Because faith without discipline is fantasy. But faith with discipline, that's creation. That's evolution. That's the very engine of success. So what does discipline look like for a man of faith? It looks like repetition, affirmation, action, obsession. It means reading the same goal every morning and every night. It means speaking the outcome out loud until your throat is dry. It means acting as if before the evidence shows up. Faith doesn't wait for proof. It creates it. You don't say, "I'll believe when I see." You say, "I'll see it because I believed." That's the shift. That's the line in the sand. But understand this, faith is not loud. It is not always bold on the outside. Sometimes it's the quiet refusal to quit. Sometimes it's the calm persistence of a man planting seeds in a drought. Sometimes it's not fireworks. It's fire. Silent, burning, unstoppable. That fire is built with vision. Vision is the compass of faith. Without it, your belief has no direction. But with it, with it, you become a weapon. You move differently when you know where you're going. You walk with purpose. You say no to distraction. You cut off the voices that don't align. You ignore the noise of failure because you're tuned to the frequency of success. Faith gives you tunnel vision, not blindness, focus. Because the man who believes does not need 10 backup plans. He needs one outcome and relentless pursuit. That's how empires are built. One man, one mission, one vision. Backed by faith so strong, the world must make room for it. This is why Hill's work is timeless. He wasn't selling tactics. He was revealing laws, spiritual, mental, universal laws. And those laws do not expire. They are as real today as they were in 1937. They are working right now for someone who believes, someone who acts, someone who decided. The only question is, why not you? Why not now? Why keep waiting to believe in yourself until someone else validates what you already know? Why keep living like faith is for others? Why keep begging for crumbs when you were born to build kingdoms? This isn't motivation. This is truth. Faith is the root. Discipline is the water. Action is the sunlight. You grow the life you speak into existence. And if you don't believe that, then you're already growing someone else's dream. You're already building someone else's fortune. You're already trapped in the illusion that reality is fixed. But hear me, it's not. Reality is plastic in the hands of the faithful. So build it, speak it, walk it. This is the great secret, the untold advantage, the real currency of kings. Not just money, not just effort, not just ambition, but faith. Faith is not for the faint of heart. Because to walk by faith is to walk alone at first. Before the applause, before the proof, before the recognition, there is silence. A silence so deep it will test your very identity. That's when most people retreat. They look around and see nothing growing. They speak their vision into empty rooms. They write goals no one believes in, and they quit. But the ones who don't quit, the ones who hold the line, the ones who water the dream even when the ground looks dead, those are the ones who rise. Because here's the truth. You are never planting in vain. You are never speaking in vain. You are never visualizing in vain. Faith is not wasted effort. Faith is compound interest. Every day you believe, your subconscious builds. Every time you act in alignment, your energy shifts. Every time you choose courage over comfort, something invisible tilts in your favor. Not instantly, not obviously, but undeniably. Think of the oak tree. It begins in darkness, buried, pressured, cracked open. It does not reach the sky in days. It grows where no one sees. Its roots dig deep before its branches rise high. Faith is the same. The foundation is underground, and the stronger the root, the taller the rise. That's why most people never elevate. They dig up the seed too early. They want results without belief. They want harvest without patience. But you are not most people. You are here because something ancient is waking up in you, something primal, something immortal. It's the voice that whispers, you were born to create. You were born to build. You were born to become. This is your divine assignment, and that assignment is not random. It was placed in you for a reason. Don't insult the Creator by doubting the creation. You weren't given vision to admire it. You were given vision to manifest it. And if your vision scares you, good. That means it's real. That means it's alive, That means it's bigger than you, and it's meant to stretch you. Remember, Henry Ford had no formal education. Thomas Edison was called stupid by teachers. Abraham Lincoln lost more elections than he won. But they moved anyway, they acted anyway, they believed anyway. And the world had no choice but to bow to their persistence. Because faith, when combined with defiance, becomes a storm. A force so unstoppable even time respects it. And defiance isn't rage. It's quiet rebellion. It's choosing to believe when every logical reason says don't. It's doing one more rep when your legs are shaking. It's making one more call after 100 no's. It's waking up at dawn to pursue a dream no one claps for yet. But that's how wealth is born. That's how greatness is carved. That's how your future self becomes real. You must become unreasonable in your conviction, because the reasonable man settles. He adapts to the world. He conforms. He waits for permission. But the unreasonable man, he adapts the world to himself. And every great invention, every billion-dollar empire, every transformation was born from the unreasonable. You think Elon Musk asked for permission? You think Jay-Z waited for approval? You think Steve Jobs cared what the committee thought? No, they moved in faith. They spoke in faith. They bet it all on belief, because they knew the truth. The world bends to the man who refuses to break. So here's what you must do. Kill the doubt, kill the noise, kill the excuses, and awaken the lion. The lion doesn't ask the jungle for validation. The lion roars, and the jungle adjusts. Your faith must roar louder than your fear. You must wake up and declare, I am not here to survive. I am not here to get by. I am here to dominate, to build, to rise. You must stare at the mountain and say, move, and then start climbing, whether it moves or not. That is the essence of faith. It's not hoping something happens. It's knowing you'll make it happen or die trying. That kind of belief makes you magnetic. People feel it. Doors respond to it. The world begins to rearrange itself to match your energy. Because faith isn't just mindset. It's frequency. It's vibration. It's power. And once you tap into that power, you become untouchable. Not because life gets easy, but because you get stronger. And that is what makes you rich. Not just rich in money, but rich in courage. Rich in impact, rich in freedom. Because that's what real wealth is. Freedom of thought. Freedom of movement, freedom of being, and all of it flows from one thing, one invisible, priceless, immortal force, faith. So now we arrive at the edge, the line between who you've been and who you must become, and it is not a gentle crossing, because the old you won't go quietly. The version of you that played it safe, that made excuses, that stayed small, it will claw, scream, and beg for survival. But it has to die. There is no room for mediocrity in the life you're building. No space for fear in a mind ruled by faith. This is where most people stop, right here, on the edge of their greatness, not because they're weak, but because they never truly decided. Understand this. The decision comes before the proof. You don't become confident and then take action. You take action and confidence follows. You don't wait to feel ready. You move and become ready on the way. That's faith, not emotion, not hype, not luck. Faith is a decision, a razor-sharp, burn-the-boats kind of decision. It's Cortez arriving in the New World and lighting the ships on fire, so retreat is not an option. It's Walt Disney buying land for a kingdom no one could see yet. It's Napoleon Hill interviewing 500 of the greatest minds in history before a single soul believed in his mission. Faith says, I am the proof. My vision is the evidence. My persistence is the plan. And if I don't quit, I win. Eventually, inevitably, irrefutably. That is the sacred law. That is the divine code that governs all success. Not circumstance, not talent, not luck. Belief, backed by action, sustained through discipline, expanded by gratitude, fueled by purpose, refined by resilience, and lit on fire by an unshakable, unbreakable, world-shifting faith. So stop looking around for confirmation. The world doesn't owe you signs. It's waiting for your command. Stop waiting for motivation. Motivation is a byproduct of motion. Start, move, execute. Stop underestimating your role in this universe. You were not sent here to blend in. You were sent here to create, to shape reality with your thoughts, your words, your work. This is not about ego. This is about responsibility. This is about becoming what the world needs and what your soul has always demanded. You were not born to live on repeat. You were born to evolve, and every step forward is a vote. A vote for your future, a vote for the person you're becoming, a vote for the legacy you'll leave behind, because there will come a day when the work is done, the vision fulfilled, the mountain climbed, and all that's left is the echo of who you were. Let that echo roar. Let it say, here stood a man, a woman, a force who believed when no one else did, who spoke truth into silence, who built where others doubted, who lived in faith, moved with fire, and left this world changed. That is what Napoleon Hill meant when he said, faith is the head chemist of the mind. It is the alchemy that turns thought into gold, struggle into story, and ideas into empires. You hold that power right now, this moment. So don't just think, decide, don't just plan, act, don't just dream, build. And when it gets hard, and it will, return to the voice within that says, I believe, I endure, I rise, I conquer, because my faith will not fail me. My faith is my fortune. And in the final equation, faith is what makes you rich, not just in wealth, but in freedom, in spirit, in truth, in legacy. The kind of richness that no man can steal, no market can crash, and no time can erase. Because it was never about the money. It was always about becoming the kind of person who could create it. And now that person is you.